Get this going.
Okay, have
Okay,
fun.
we're gonna have a great time. Here we go. All right, everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Spiritual Asshole. I'm so excited to be joined by Aasha T. She's a self-worth coach, CEO and founder of Beyond EQ, and also she's the founder of Self-Worth Warriors. Aasha, how are you?
Oh my gosh, I am so thankful to be here. Thank you so much for having me, and welcome to all of you assholes out there who also love to be spiritually connected.
It's so good to have you. We've been talking about this for a while. So you dance a lot on Instagram. Are you worried that your videos will make white people think that their dancing's okay?
Mm, yes, I am highly concerned, especially if you've seen my videos, because I am like the ultimate white mom dancing. It's fun. I don't even know, like, if I'm a Pisces, I'm a mermaid, so I have like 8 broken toes. So it's just kind of adds to the comedic flair of like not giving a shit, right?
Yeah, that was my next question. Like, because your videos, you're dancing, you're killing it, and then as soon as you yell cut, are you like, oh, cool, I just threw out my back again?
Yeah, no, because I have such amazing relationship with pain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm like wicked submissive, so I'm like into pain. And then also I'm an emotional and energetic intelligence healer, so I love grimy emotions. So like if I have a bad back, I'm like, yes, this simply means I'm realigning and I'm always looking at the better perspective of it. But ultimately, I'm 41 and like I probably should be in a wheelchair at this stage, but I just still keep dancing. It's fun.
That's fantastic. So, what would you say to people who have a bad relationship to pain?
Get with the program. You're missing out on half of the fun.
It
I'm
sounds like, so what, you
yeah.
just embrace it? You just welcome it in?
Well, I think the thing is that it's always gonna come, like, this is the bukkake of life, right? You never know what's coming in your face. It's either gonna be something awesome or it's gonna be something that's not so awesome, and so I live my life like I'm edging, like, sort of like a dominatrix edging, and God's just about to fuck me with the next thing. So I think that when you develop that relationship with pain, it changes your entire perspective. A good example is I was in the hospital the other day and I was having like an anxiety attack, except I was very centered in my body. I'm an emotional intelligence healer, but I could see myself having this anxiety attack. And I was like, I think I just need to have this so I understand how a CEO, a CEO of a startup has to maintain their emotional well-being. And so
Mm.
instead of actually looking at it as like, oh my God, I'm having a fucking heart attack over here. I was like, oh wow, I looks like I really needed to experience this. And so that's my relationship with pain.
Are you the only person from Boston who is in touch with their emotions? Is that fair to say?
I definitely say Boston's an emotional place. But yes, they're not my ideal client. Moved to California. I gotta move it on up a little bit to
They
be
got
real.
that Boston edge. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
and I got that Boston edge. Like, don't fuck with me in traffic.
I loved, yeah, you just busted out that accent. That was incredible. So you
Yeah,
do
thank
you
you.
do teach people to be self-worth warriors. Are you worried that if we're all self-worth warriors, no one would ever work at FedEx Kinko's?
Why?
Because that place sucks.
Yeah, probably. No, I actually, it's so awesome actually because even like when people take self-worth warriors, they can literally work in a cardboard box. So actually FedEx is like the perfect place to work. I say that all the time because I could care less if like even though I look expensive, I'm like kind of a little bit like simple. I have like one luggage piece of like stuff and like I've got this thing where I'm like a little bit thrifty, but I'm like still like high end. It's really like a huge paradox of life, but like that's me in a nutshell. And I feel like when you have that inside yourself, that paradox exists in all of us. Like you're just vibing. So like you could work anywhere or do anything. It's awesome.
So, what do you think? I've been saying for a long time that I think the only class that human beings need to go to is self-worth class. And I think that if you only took that class, you would be happy for the rest of your life. What does self-worth look like to you? What's been your journey with it?
Oh, that's such an awesome question. First off, I do want to share with you that like that is 100% truth. Everything comes down to worth.
Everything.
Everything. You will never be able to receive large sums of money. You will not be able to receive deep, penetrative, like divine love if you don't meet yourself in the depths. And that's so cliche. It involves an extraordinary amount of clearing of the story. So typically we say like mindset work, or we find out how to clear the stories through detriment, right? Like something shitty happens and then you like have a massive like cry, like a breakup, and then like it feels like someone stole your heart out of your chest. And so what ends up happening is we can shut our heart down. And so with my work and my method, which is a three-step method that I've created, it's energetics, self-worth, and then inner polarity of masculine and feminine energy. So when you say that, like you're hitting the nail on the head. Like you see this a lot with people who win the lottery, they'll instantly sell everything. And the reality is they don't feel worthy of receiving that much money. So they instantly flick it away. They instantly spend it. This is also why we see people jump from one thing to the next. Because if they actually stayed and committed over and over and over again, they'd start receiving a lot of money because you can actually commit to anything. You could commit to selling pee in a jar on eBay. If you
Probably do
believe
well,
in
yeah.
it, yeah, it does well. Like if I committed to that and I believed in it enough, it's gonna sell. You'll sell, you can sell anything with framework. So the reality is the framework is what scares people and they go, holy shit, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this. And they become over creators. And the over creation is a overly feminine energy, whether you're a man or a woman. And when we actually decide we're going to commit and we stable in, that's a real king energy. And that's when things start to happen and we start to really receive on deeper levels as
What do you
women.
mean by over creators? What does that mean?
So example would be like, let's say if you have any entrepreneurs who listen to this or people who are on their soul's journey, they may start with a strategy on Facebook. And then within 5 days, they're like, oh, this isn't working. I need to change my price, or I'm going to go start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And then they start filling up baskets or buckets at 18 different buckets. And the reality is you got to stick with the one thing and let that exponentially grow because otherwise you're just taking the same person to the same thing over and over. You're literally just like switching relationships when you're the same person. You haven't changed inside. So we
Mm.
overcreate and we overcreate like more work for ourselves in relationship as well as business to avoid actually committing. And you have to commit to self first and then the universe responds.
Okay, so like what are some really good practices for self-worth? And specifically to go back, you talked about energetics. Like how do we clear some of these bullshit stories we have? How do you do it?
Oh, I love that question. So the
Yeah.
first thing is that everything comes back to the mother wound and the father wound. It doesn't
Great.
matter if you have a mother or father that you got on with like really awesome. This goes back, epigenetics scientifically say that this goes back about 20 years, 20
Yeah.
generations, excuse me. And the reality is for me is it goes back lifetimes. If you've done shamanic journeying, if you've done any ayahuasca or even just any really deep spiritual practice, you literally have like the codes of like the Egyptians and like whatever. So we're holding all this in our genes and our genomes, our DNA is only the helix from the mother and only helix from father. And that goes on and on and on. Your father had the double helix with his mother and his father, and then his mother had it with his mother and her father, and so on and so forth. And we see this when alcoholism runs in the family, or when you yell and you sound like your dad. So like even a lot of conscious people will say they're more conscious, but they still repeat the pattern of their parents.
Yeah.
So I believe, what was your question again? I'm sorry,
My
sometimes that happens.
question was, how can we stop all these bullshit stories? Help
Yeah.
us,
So
God.
yeah, so yeah. So that's really what it comes down to. So it's about even those fundamental understandings that everything comes back to anxious and avoidant attachment, and everything comes back to the mother and the father wound always. In my practice, I talk about the cosmic mother wound and the cosmic father wound. And I wrote my book, The Empath is the Narcissist, and it's
Yes.
all about the energetics of attachment wounds. So really, for me, my suggestion is pick up my book. Number one, it's deeply healing and deeply like holy shiitake. Like this is not like I never knew we could go this deep. And then you want to always look at your relationship with three areas: health, love, and purpose. Love and purpose are the only two players in the game, and the added bonus is hotness. And so
Sick.
Yeah, so sick. It's love and money, baby. That's all we got. And so what happens is people will dump all their energy into their business and close out to love, or they will get codependent on love and forget completely about their own soul's purpose.
Yeah.
So there's like that balance. So that's the perfect place to start.
Can
The
we just
second
be can we just be hot and that's it? Is that
That's
possible?
really why that's what I do. Like my core self-worth warriors is not like let's sit around and grow our armpit hair and braid each other's like and cry into a crystal ball. It's I'm about the soul motherfucking vibes. Like I want you in your penetrative truth. There's a shitload of sexual energy. There's a ton of masculine presence. This week I'm teaching on how to self squirt. So it's like
Whoa.
all like edgy, really fun dope stuff that's like it filled with healing, but it's a way that it's for me, it's the coolest way to heal. It's like it's not like I'm not about like being lame. I'm about being you. If lame is you, awesome. Hell yeah. But for me, my goal is every single one of my clients gets hotter, loses weight, makes more money, and has better sex.
And self squirts.
And so, and yeah, I mean, if they're paying attention, if they take the action, that's the half. Most that's the thing. Like everybody can sit here and listen to me talk. What are you actually doing to help yourself? That's the real question. You know?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So can we talk
yeah.
a little? Yeah, I want to hear a little bit about your actual journey. How the hell did you get here? And yeah, like what transformations have you seen? I think in a year you said like at least it's been crazy, right?
Yes. So I've been woken up, if you will, to my energy work for 3 years. It'll be 3 years in like a week. And
Cool.
in that time, I lost my marriage. I was sexually assaulted twice.
Oh
I was
geez.
woken up by a man who had tied himself to my soul for 18 years. So we broke up when we were kids in high school. And when we broke up, he had a really bad dark night of the soul and like, that feeling of like, oh my
Yeah.
God. And then he never healed. He never got over it. And I was I hated him. I was avoidant toward him. So here I am being avoidant, and here he is being codependent, right? Anxious and avoidant attachment.
Yeah.
And when I started doing the inner work, he was also letting go and doing the inner work. And when he came back, he actually said to me, he said, "Oh my God, I can't believe you came back. I just let you go." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I've been thinking about you every day for 18 years." So first off, I was like, "Holy shit, like this is one of the main reasons why men end up homeless or addicted or on the wrong timeline, like sacrificing to a woman that breaks their heart is because they don't heal. They don't even know how to heal, a lot of men. And so, like, and it's scary to open your heart as a man. And so, especially if you've done it and then it gets broken. And so he hooked onto another girl and I woke up and I was like, "Woo!" And I lost like 45 pounds and then I just started seeing energy so clearly and I was avoidant to my husband. So I was like the narcissistic one and my husband at the time. And then I saw myself and I went, "Oh my God, I didn't love you because I couldn't love me." And I like tried to love him and he ran away. And so I saw him become the avoidant. So I'm watching like anxious avoidance just like popping back and forth and really how this pushing and pulling exists everywhere. And then I just knew I dedicated my entire life to my work. And since that time, I've taken about $700,000 in my business. I
Whoa.
lost everything. I was, like I said, I was sexually assaulted twice in a terrible car accident. I'm a single mom. And so, yeah, I just kind of roll through it. So I'm like, oh, wow, if I went through all this shit and I created that amount of money, it's going to be exponential. And I'm going to prove I wrote 2 books.
Yeah.
I wrote my first book, The Empath is the Narcissist, and my second book, which is called Emotional Intelligence Creates Unicorns, the fastest way to make money in your startup.
Wow, that's really great. So, what do
Yeah.
you think that like specifically changed in you? Like what did you do differently to get to this place now?
100% radical responsibility. So even with even my book, like I wonder if I could like I'm gonna reread the book and see where I might make some edits because I'm taking even more responsibility for my creation.
Yeah.
I don't believe in narcissism. I don't believe in it. And I truly believe if you can handle that level of truth, you should be stepping the fuck up because we are the creators. And so if we actually all collectively don't believe in the darkness, it won't exist. And we need and so for me, I'm just trying to get a crew of people that that feel that way. So for
Yeah.
a good example is like, I don't believe in manipulation because this is a perfect example. If you were, let's say you're on Tinder, not Tinder. Yeah, Tinder is that a dating site? Yeah. You're
Tinder's one, yeah.
yeah, okay. So let's say you're on Tinder and
Great.
this chick ghosts you. Like if she's like a low grade girl, you're gonna have no emotional reaction. But if she's a
I'll blow up her house.
you'll blow her house up. Yeah. No, you like, okay. So let's say you just like, okay, this chick is like a 3 out of 10 and she
Yeah.
tries to ghost you. You don't even notice. The only time you notice when someone tries to ghost you is when they have power over you. So if you get to a point where no one has power over you, manipulation doesn't exist. You just accept the emotion as it comes. You're just like, oh, fuck. Oh, that guy did me dirty. Big deal. I'm on. And so I just literally keep going and I move the relationship with the emotion. So this my whole point is like it's like an energetic game up in here. And so it's like, oh,
Yes.
you're gonna try and ghost me? You're gonna try and manipulate me? And then I just act like I can't be manipulated. And that's how I live my life.
And what does this come back to? Self-worth. Here we go
Always. Yeah.
again.
You can't fuck with somebody that doesn't care about you enough because they're busy
Full.
caring about themselves.
So here's an interesting question then. Is it possible to care about somebody so much and still be really tied and strong enough in your own self-worth? Because this
Oh,
kind of because this kind of also goes back to the anxious and avoidant thing is interesting because I really feel like I don't want to feel like you have to be one or the other. There has to be a way for it to be healthy, you
oh
know?
yeah. Oh my gosh. Like I love that question because I'm also deeply into love and divine union. And
Yeah.
I believe right now that all of this over healing is actually making people almost afraid to date. And
Yeah.
the reality is that like we need to fuck. We need to have fun. We need to be banging and kicking ass and having a blast.
The
And
title
so
of this episode is The Reality is We Need to Fuck.
yeah.
That's
So
great.
let's say, for example, I meet this amazing man and we have like this deep sexual connection and like
Yeah.
we're in love. If he decides that he's going to leave me at some point, I need to be okay with that because it was my choice to make and I'm not attached to his journey. So you
Yes.
want to be able to hold both poles of being really vulnerable and really open and really committed and devoted and also understand that if he were to like at this level of consciousness, if someone chooses to take a separate path, you are at a place where you need to unweave as opposed to find someone to blame. And
Yes.
the reality is when there's no one to blame, it's actually sometimes honestly, it's like a little bit worse because it's conscious and you're like, it doesn't work anymore because trauma bonding is real. So like you're like,
Right.
"Hey, it's not really aligned anymore. Like I want something different and he wants something different. And like you it's almost scarier and sadder in that circumstance when the reality is that's exactly where we want to be as a human race because you don't need to blame anybody. Everybody's just
Yeah.
doing their thing.
And I think that the thing is like once you realize that because I think a lot of people want to blame because then they don't have to look at themselves. It's so much easier
100%.
to just be
100%.
like, dude, I don't know about you, but the amount of people I have heard call their ex-boyfriends specifically narcissists, it's so out of control.
I
And
know.
it's like, dude, I'm like, that's where I'm like, some of the spirituality stuff, I'm like, I don't know that it's actually helping sometimes because people just now have terms to put labels on shit. And it's like, but we're above that though. I don't know. Like, what do you think about
Yeah.
that?
Oh my God. I mean, I'm like totally listening to what you say. I do have something to add to that. So
Let's fight.
actually, in my experience, most of the women hold because women are more emotional than the masculine. The feminine is more is she is 80 to 90% emotions. She's going to have more stories and more attachments. She's actually typically the narcissist. And this is how this looks: omitting sex, keeping up with the Joneses and people pleasing, coming home and like not accepting or wanting more and more and more and more from her husband instead of actually looking at herself. And I bring that out in a lot of women. They're like, "Oh my God, I just saw all my narcissism. What the hell?" And so I don't even believe I played that woman in this lifetime. And
Yeah,
so
for
what
sure.
so for me in my dharma and meaning like the thing that I'm here to do is to stop the narcissism agenda. I think it's absolutely insane how many people point the finger and I'm just like, but you were that person and people are like that's spiritual bypassing or whatever, but I don't really play with that level of victim in the moment. I can't. I've tried to help those people as of recent, and actually, it's so funny. They always end up like taking their payment back or something. It's happened a couple times. Yeah, they can't even pay me because if they pay me, they're gonna have to look at it. That's the way this works. Like if you're gonna put energy into me and
That's
penetrate
great.
with money, you're gonna get healed. It's the way it goes. And so, like, even you doing this with me, you're gonna get a flurry of fucking awesomeness because you're helping me to reach more people. And like I truly believe that way. And like so now I have to call in a higher echelon client. My client has to be ready to let go of the victim forever because
Yeah.
there's just no space. And then when you have enough people who can heal like that, holy shit, there's crap happening on the lower timelines. So this place is like a ladder, right? So it's a ladder and we got rungs of hell. And then you move up to the rungs. It's only an energetic game. There's different energetic balls at every level,
Yeah.
right? So you and I are vibing on the same frequency right now. We're connected. And then we're going to go up to another level and another level and another level. And people get stuck on these ladder rungs, like standing in their own way, holding onto this ladder rung, and then they get mad at themselves or whatever, they die on that ladder rung. But imagine if we get more and more people up on the higher ladder rungs, our energy is going to pull the other people up to the higher ladder rungs, and then we'll all just be fucking having fun and looking hot. It's
And
fun.
everyone's having sex. It's great.
Everybody's having sex on massive wads of cash too.
Actually, yeah, they're having sex on money. So
Yes, money sex. Yay, it's fun.
you said this great thing. You said you spent 20 years afraid to be yourself because you were lost. Is that because you were stuck in IKEA and no one knows how to get out of those places?
Yes. How did you know?
A metaphoric IKEA?
Yes, a metaphoric IKEA. I was like, where the hell do I go? And then obviously I ended up spending a ton of money of shit that I didn't want, just leaving with more and more baggage. So yeah, perfect analogy. And then
So
I got home and I didn't know what to do with it. Nobody knows what to do with it. So it
no one
just
knows
sits
how to put
there.
it together. It's fucked. So yeah, like I guess now does stuff what happens now versus old you when like a bad story shows up or something that you don't like. What do you do now versus what you used to do?
Well, that's so interesting. So I actually got like precancerous cells about 9 years ago. And I was like, shit, what is this? I'm going to the gym. I was living in the northern beaches of Australia. I was really healthy.
Sweet.
And yeah, and it turns out it was the attachment. And like I ran into an energy healer. And then of course my path took me onto emotional intelligence. But I was drinking a ton. I had a massive drinking problem. I did a ton of cocaine back when I was in the
Oh, awesome.
yeah, I mean, even just mentioning that word, I'm like, "Do you have a bathroom?" I gotta instantly go to the bathroom, you know what I mean? Like that coke belly all of a sudden just like takes over. And so yeah, I was like a big fat cokehead. It was funny. I tried to deal it once, which was hilarious. I was like, I just basically did it all and then partied with all my friends. I was like, that's like the number 5, 10 crack commandments from Biggie Smalls. Don't get high on your, never get high on your own supply. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just snort it all. And so anyway, I did all that, and then I was really overweight and just like really, really dull. And so when I started learning emotional intelligence, I was like, damn, this is awesome. And then I realized that intelligence and energetic intelligence is really the steez. It's like the bomb. And my name of the company is called Beyond EQ. So now, I think one of the things about trauma and stories, if you will, right? Like these stories that we hold on to, is we hold on to these stories for dear life. We perceive these stories as a safety outlet.
Yes.
So
Safety.
yeah, because we're afraid of what's on the other side. And that always comes down to trust. And that's always the father wound, that if I don't trust in the masculine to take me to my next level. And so for me, I literally, as soon as a story comes up, I'm at a point now where I visualize myself walking on my golden highest timeline, going straight up. And it's almost like if you can visualize, this is like in my brain where I'm walking through this golden timeline, which is a neuro pathway straight
Yes.
ahead, and all around me is like all this smoke and like twigs and jungle stuff, and I'm like hacking through it and I'm clearing all of it out, and that's how I visualize myself just releasing the stories. And then I cannot stress enough how vital it is to feel every emotion. Even people are like, "Oh, shame, don't shame." And I'm like, why are you shaming shame? Shame is an awesome emotion. You gotta feel the shame. You gotta feel the anger. Like rage is probably my number one favorite. Rage is probably my favorite emotion. Yeah,
So
fine.
let's talk through this. So like what do you actually do then when rage comes up? Are you punching your son? I hope so.
Yes, of course. God, he's always got two. He's got a listening problem, so obviously he has two black eyes. So I have to tell him twice. Because he's my bitch. No, I'm kidding. I'm probably his bitch if you're actually. Well, now it's getting weird. But he's the man. He's the man. Levi's awesome. He's 13, going on like 48 guru styles, but like not a creepy guru, like a
Yeah.
really good guru, a good guru. And so he's a great kid. Okay, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, what do I
Oh,
do? Okay,
actually, like, how do you?
yeah,
Because people
rage.
always talk about feeling the feelings, but what does that actually like
Yeah.
really look like?
Okay, cool. So I'll tell you how this works for me. So let's say you said something and it created a trigger inside of my body. I instantly back off. I'm like, okay, wow, I'm having an emotional experience that you provided for me, Brendan. You provided the experience for me.
Thank you, thank you.
You didn't, you're, oh, thank you.
No, thank you, thank
Penetrate me again.
you, thank you.
Ooh, give it to me. But basically, that's how I live life. I'm like, oh, wow, he's giving me a gift. And the gift could be anger, it could be frustration. So instead of me getting mad toward your face, I take it back and I figure out what happened inside my body that created that trigger. And so let's say you said something like, Asha, you're so ugly. So maybe, and I'd be like, first off, you're fucking blind, double fingers. And then second off, I'd be like, no, I'm hurt. I feel sad and I feel angry and I feel hurt.
Yeah,
And so then I literally will write down the emotions. I'm at a point now where I just kind of like know them and I'm like, oh, I can feel this emotion coming up. So I don't ever recommend in a relationship, like let's say we were dating, I would just be like, I need space. I got to figure out what's going on so I can come back with a clear lens. Like, you're not my therapist. I want a clean, polarized relationship with a masculine man, which means I don't dump my shit onto a masculine man. A lot of women confuse vulnerability with wound bleeding. And like, and the reality is like, let's just come with the data. And that doesn't mean all the time, but you're going
yeah,
to relate much deeper when I'm clean. So like, it's a clean, energetic relationship. So I treat that with every single person. So here's a good example. A woman the other day told me no, she didn't want to do a collaboration. And she reminded me of a woman from high school that, so repeating story, right?
totally.
Yeah, best friend of mine. And she gave me that same emotion. And I started to feel a lot of stuff. And so I backed
Right.
off and I went into the car and I just started screaming, crying. Like I could feel the rage coming up. And since I have such a healthy relationship with my body and the way that I feel, I could see I was having what you call an amygdala hijack. So the amygdala sits at the base of your brain, and when you feel threatened or scared or afraid or whatever, just like back in the primal days, like felt like she was going to kick me out of the club, felt like she was going to kick me out of the tribe. And so now I'm in danger. So I can feel this amygdala coming, but because I have such exercised prefrontal cortex, I take myself back, I feel the emotion. And then the next day, I get a ton of insights. She has now provided me more depth on the understanding of the witch wound and the understanding of what we call the sister wound and the power wound, which is if you're going for a lot of power in this lifetime, you're going to be clearing malevolence and tyranny. Like if you ain't clearing malevolence and tyranny, sorry to be the one to tell you, you're just not that powerful, because like you got to integrate these dark energies. And she gave me that experience. So I don't ever recommend clearing your trauma and your triggers in front of other people, other than like your guides if you need help, and like your coaches and stuff. That's why I
What
think
about on
that,
a first date? That's a good time.
yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, yeah. Run for the fucking hills, man. No, it's awesome. But yeah, and I think that like I think a lot of people confuse like conscious relating with like sitting around being like, this is how I feel. Like I'm not personally available for that because I like penetrative, strong, masculine men. And so if I'm honest, I don't really care about his feelings. My feelings he needs to care about a little bit more because I'm a woman and my feelings really, really matter. But the men should be really sort of moving their emotions and having conscious conversations. Is a little bit of a different dynamic. It doesn't mean that you shut the masculine down. It just means that you hold yourself in a little bit of a a higher regard for how you relate to one another. And that goes for all of my relationships, business as well as friendships and my family. It's not my dad's fault he wasn't around when I was a kid. It's not my mother's fault. Like none of that's anybody's fault. Those are my experiences and they're mine to deal with. So I take radical responsibility for my triggers.
Love it. And then here's a
Fun.
question. Here's a
So fun.
question. I love it. So here's a question. When is the time to feel something and when is it the time to just say, bitch, why don't you man up?
Yeah.
But because I've always almost asked everybody this question on this podcast because I don't want to stay stuck in like a story of, well, it's because I haven't felt a feeling or I have this past story. Because a lot of times I think it's just do an action, do something differently.
Oh yeah.
So like, what's your take on that? Like, when is it time to just shut the fuck up and go?
Oh my God. So first off, I only work with coaches that have that attitude because I don't want my emotions coddled. I came for great things. I want to work. That's what I believe, like emotional intelligence is not about sitting around braiding each other's hair, singing kumbaya. It's how stoic can you be so that I can give you a penetrative truth and you're not going to have an emotional reaction. Like if you said to me, Asha, this is how I feel you're behaving, if I have an emotional reaction, then I'm not doing my job. So, for example, if I'm in a work environment and you're a man and you're trying to get the job done, and a woman's like, he needs more emotional intelligence. It's actually her that needs more emotional intelligence because she is afraid of a masculine's penetrative truth. When I give a penetrative truth and someone has an emotional reaction, that's their shit. It's not mine. And so for me, this is a really cool one because like I work with a lot of men and they'll be like, God, you can really handle like the truth. And I'm like, yeah, because for me, I'm healed. When you say things directly to me, it's like nectar. Whereas if you're not healed, it feels like sharp,
Attacks. Yeah.
yeah, where I'm like, oh wow, the truth. Oh my God. Even if the man can't see anything, I still love it. I'm like, oh wow, his ego is so hot. So like, yeah, because you really truly like there's such a thin line between confidence and ego. I always say just rock it out now. Be as confident as possible because if it's your ego, you're gonna fucking find out. Trust me. If you can't see, you're gonna know. That's why you're gonna edge the whole time, just waiting for the next poke. So when you're asking that question, like that's actually one of my main roles is to get people moving. I have a really healthy relationship with the dark mother. And you, as a man, you would have the relationship with the dark father. So the dark energies are often shut down, right? But when they're integrated, they're amazing. So integrated narcissism is me loving the shit out of myself and also loving the shit out of you and every man in my life and every woman in my life that has helped me get where I am. That's integrated narcissism. It's like, ooh, I'm gorgeous. I'm so fabulous. I'm going to be a show pony. And I absolutely want the best for you. Every single person. So now it's integrated. So when you talk about the dark mother or the dark father, they may have forced you to do something that you didn't want to do, whereas now that dark energy is like, come on, get your shit together because you're going up to a higher timeline and I'm going to
Yeah.
pull you up. I'm not going to drain you and make you do something you don't want to do. So that's the vibe. And so for me, I hold a lot of that. My clients, I say to my clients, if you don't want to grow, if you don't want to face yourself, you're not going to like me. Like you have to let go. And that means you have to take inward action and I'm going to give you outward action assignments and do it
Mm.
or don't. If you don't do it, you don't get the results and then I don't win. And then why are you here? You didn't trust yourself to invest in me in the first place. I'm dead serious. And as a result, all my clients win. 100% success rate.
Yeah. And
It's
I
fun.
think this is no, it's great. And this is where again I think I got sometimes get tripped up by spirituality. It's like making some things mean something when they don't mean something when you could just take an action and shut the fuck up. Do you know what I
Oh
mean?
God. Oh my God, dude. Yeah. So I'm the queen of that. I'm like the queen of making up stories. I
Yeah.
still am. Like I get so many of my insights from stories, but like I'm like, oh my God, Johnny over there is fucking probably looking at me, even though he's in a relationship. And my ops manager, my operations manager is like, are you pretty sure you just created that entire story out of nowhere? And I'm like, probably. So yeah, that's what spirituality does. And like they'll get caught up on like the victim of like their mother. There's like a whole Instagram page that's like dedicated to like hating your mom. And I'm like, this is so fucked up. Like your
Yeah.
mother only knew what she knew at the time. let it go. That's why I love my work, because it's detachment. You start to look for the trauma and you're like, wait, where's the trauma? It's not even here anymore. It's
Yes.
fun. It's awesome. You ever had that feeling where you're like,
Yes.
where's the story? I've got nothing to grab onto.
But it's a lot what you said, I think, is that there's comfortability and feeling like shit. So
Yeah.
if you get rid of your stories or your trauma and now it's all clear, you're like, oh, well, now I can't be small anymore. I think that's also a part of it for sure.
Hell yeah. And being seen, the being seen is like the coolest thing, because we all want to be seen as a core need. And then simultaneously, we are all detrimentally afraid of being seen,
I know it's
because
so crazy.
yeah, there's so much paradox. Like, even what we're everything, the more conscious you become, the more everything's a paradox. You're just like, fuck trauma and fuck your mom. And then you're like, oh wait, no, actually I have no attachments to that. So like you can actually see yourself in live time, like having like these paradoxical moments. It's so cool. But like that's the reality of it, is like we all want to be seen fundamental as because you have to be seen as a child, and you have to be seen to be safe. And then when we are seen, we're exposed, and now we're going to get burned because we're a bunch of like we're telling the truth. And there's that. So like all of these stories you have to clear and you have to move through. Like I said, if you're not moving through those stories, like you're not that powerful. I just don't care. Like if you're actually like, if you're a person listening to this and you're still like, yeah, he's a narcissist, I just don't think you're that powerful. And like, that's just the way I feel about you, because you have to own your own narcissism as the tyrannical fucker that you were. Like, you don't think I was chopping dudes' heads off in like in the 1800s? Of course I was. I'm not going to judge you because you're doing that now. I'd rather just live my life and help as many people rock and have awesome sex
I
than I
love it.
can. Yeah, it's fun.
All right, here is a great transition then. So you also help people find their sexual energy. Do you think everyone is naturally sexual, or are some people just not that sexual, like the entire state of Wisconsin?
That's funny. You know, I'm like so into Midwest boys. You're from Illinois?
I'm from Illinois. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Boy, that's where they make the good stock. Why do you say that about Wisconsin? Is it just like a bunch of people that eat cheese and they
I'm
just
just kidding. Well, I was just
can't
thinking,
get
like,
it
what's
up?
the most bland state? I love Wisconsin, by the way, or in Iowa too. I feel like
Oh,
those are
you
the
do?
two. I don't think that those two states are fucking too much. I just don't see it
They
happening.
just probably aren't. I mean, they're just eating cheese, right? I mean, I don't know. I do live in like the suburbs of Boston. Like it is sweatpantsville here. And I'm just like, really? And it's not like good sweatpants. It's not like DKNY or like Calvin Klein. I'm talking like
Give up
six
sweatpants.
old,
Yeah.
like white stained sweatpants with Crocs. I'm like, what's happening here? Is anybody fucking? No. So the reality is we can, as human beings, we cannot live without sex. Literally, the only thing we can't live without, we could even go without water, is sex. We have to procreate. And what's happening right now, if we're going to get into a little bit of the truth of what's going on with these agendas, is this division agenda is basically creating all of these warped inversions with our kids, and dividing the people. People are like not even dating. And so the reality
Yeah.
is we need people coming together so that it can inspire and embody other people to come together. So like the embodiment piece of watching people coming together and like living like really, really deeply connected to self and then to other is huge. But the more connected you are to yourself, the more you're going to be sexually connected to whoever your divine counterpart is. That's the way it goes. You
Mm.
literally, so yeah, for me and my belief system, everybody has a divine counterpart. Will everybody get there in this lifetime? I don't know, but I don't think so.
So you
And
think that everybody has one person? Is that what you mean?
I do believe that. Yeah, that's my belief system, because I'm on the path of divine union, but at the same time I also hold and love people who don't want that, because I'm in soul vibes. So if you come into my program and you're like, listen, I don't want to be in a relationship, I'm going to say, listen, I teach from the template of divine union within, and
Yeah.
I will be teaching with the template of divine union without. And at the same time, honor what your own truth, dude. Like if your truth is to be in a multi-poly relationship, rock on, have an awesome time. I'm never going to judge you. There's probably going to be a chance I'm going to make porno. It's going to be awesome for everybody. We're all healing the mother wound. So yeah, so it's happening. And so like all of those things are like my desires, and I'm going to go for them in the light. And I encourage everybody to go after their soul's desires, like in the light. And so I hold both of those things. And it's funny, I always say, like, don't come to my Facebook is like my biggest handle. Like, don't come to Facebook for consistency. I literally am like in the moment about how I feel in the moment. I ride my emotions. It's the exact opposite of what we're told to do. But I also like just feel like 1 minute I'm like, yep, everybody has a divine counterpart. We need family unit now. We need masculine men and feminine women. And then I also really support the gay community. I was just at a gay club 2 nights ago,
They
and I
have
grew up with gay uncles. So like,
they have a
yeah,
lot of sex.
yeah, that's exactly right. They're having the most fun. That's why I'm going to the gay club.
They're also having a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
what are some things we can do to up our sexual energy? Something that I haven't really talked about enough in this podcast to make ourselves be hotter. What are some things that you do, we could do?
Okay, so what I do is I do like conscious pussy connection, so like yoni connection. So I like stare at my vagina like 30 minutes a day and like have a
What? Really?
yeah, yeah, and I have like an awesome relationship with my sexual energy and my sexual presence. And then for men, and then I drop into like my lower three chakras and stay grounded in my body. So
Mm.
like even with Mother Earth and just like connecting deeply to Mother Earth. And then same for the masculine, you want to stay as close to your body as you possibly can, in that you even do like tantric breathing techniques. So as a man, doing that is like you're cultivating the sexual energy like in your sexual organs, and also down by your sacral chakra, which is the chakra right above the root chakra.
Yeah.
And then you bring it all the way up to your chest and all the way up through the crown of your head, but then you also blow it out of your mouth like this. And as you blow it, you're bringing it back in and you're sucking it again through like your genitals, like all the way back up your body and then back down again, and like creating a circle within your body. And women can do that too. And you're circulating the energy inside of yourself. You can also listen to Eckhart Tolle. He talks a lot about presence and sexual energy. He's an amazing facilitator of the understanding of how to use that, and then understanding sexual transmutation and how powerful it is. Like, my sexual energy is very, very high, which means that men win when they enter contracts with me. A lot of my clients do multi-million dollar deals. I work with a lot of high achieving men. It's funny because I'm also celibate. It's confusing. I just like this like devoted celibate 3 year whore. Again, massive paradox. It's so crazy. But like, yeah, I'm about it. And I'm about it for every single person. Get into your fullest expression. Like everything. Be seen.
So are you celibate by choice?
Well, yeah, I'm on the path to divine union. So
Got it.
it's really, really clean energy for me. And so if I were to be with a man, it would be like a very like that wouldn't be my first point of interest with him. It would be more about what's the connection and then how do we build from there. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I just don't find sex for me is not like it's amazing when I have it, but at the same time, in the moment, I'm celibate and I am devoted to my work. I'm devoted to my work in my highest timeline, and then I meet people along the way.
Fuck yeah. Okay, cool. So wait, do you have to go like in 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Do you have to go like in
Well,
two
no, I
minutes?
mean, I don't have to. I can send a little message to my assistant, so I can send her a message and
Can
just
we
let
do
her.
like 3 more minutes?
I would love to. Yeah,
Okay,
let me
great.
tell her I'm going to be about 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got like
Yeah,
one more question, then we'll play a game
of
and we're
course. I
good.
would love to.
Okay, cool.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about a word that you love and I love. It's kind of similar to what we just talked about sexual energy, and that is being magnetic. It's something that like I
Okay.
think about all the time. How do we increase our magnetism? Is it something that we can
Oh,
visualize?
oh my God, 1000%. So number one, I have an awesome activation. It's for women that I can share. It's free, but men can listen to it. It's actually like relaxation, and it's all about like I pull the energy back into your body, and
Mm.
you want to pull all your energy into your body. That's why I don't even resonate with the term like empath, because you just don't want to be giving your energy to other people. You want to be, for me, you want to test how good you are going into like the club and being around like sort of normies and basics, and then also how you can be around high vibe people. Are you able to go up and down that ladder in your emotional resilience. And that's really one way that you can kind of work on your magnetism a little bit. The second thing is 1000% grounding. Like
Yeah.
grounding, I ground all the time. I even in the weather that I'm in now, like I take my shoes off and I go outside and I sit in the woods and I hug trees. Like it's really, really, really important to become magnetic. Even more so, you have to be in your body, be present. And so that's one way to increase your magnetism. The second way, this is like my favorite subject because I love magnetism. And if you're not familiar with gene keys, are you familiar with gene
Yeah,
keys?
a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little bit. Yeah. My number one gene key is illumination and magnetism. So like I'm all about like the high vibes and being like really magnetic and repelling. So I think the great thing to being magnetic is to understand you're also going to be equally repelling and create a relationship with that because sometimes our worth kicks in and we're like, why aren't they liking me? Like, why doesn't everybody like me? Well, not everybody is going to like you the more you're magnetic in your own truth. And so another thing that I do is I like to put up funny posts that are super, super edgy. I put one up the other day that was like, so many women in the West blow. No, men hate women in the West because most of them are too busy saving the ocean with Greta instead of learning how to self squirt with Aasha T. And I was like, and then like I just wait for like the people to be like, and then I just like test my own emotional reaction off of people. And so I just act like they're all a bunch of energy fractals, like giving me experiences. So if I have like a reaction, I'm like, oh, I have a reaction. That means I need to work on my magnetism. So you just
Mm.
gotta be like really fabulous all the time and just like not give an absolute fudge cakes what anybody thinks. But the secret is to also love everybody. And that's the missing link because a lot of times we are like, we don't care what you think. Hashtag I don't care, I'll pull down your underwear. And then you're also like mad at an ex or you're mad at somebody who's actually a version of yourself. And so you're not
Oh,
that magnetic. In order to be magnetic, you got to be super open to love and super open to confidence.
that's beautiful. All right. Well, I like to close by playing a game called Spiritual or Asshole, where I say
Okay.
some things and tell me if it's spiritual or asshole. Are you down?
Okay, so I can only say spiritual or asshole.
Well, that's really the rules, but hey, it's an open forum. You and I are both open, so it's okay.
Okay, we're open. We're open. We're open to receive. Let's
We're
go.
open. Let's do it. Okay,
Let's do this.
spiritual or asshole grinding at high school dances.
Oh, spiritual.
These are dance related. Spiritual or asshole bringing back slow dancing at bars. What happened to it?
Oh, spiritual.
Yeah, I really miss it.
Me
Okay,
too.
spiritual or asshole asking Santa Claus for two things. Number one, self worth. Number two, cold hard cash.
Oh, number one. So both of them. Oh yeah, both of them are spiritual. I
Spiritual
love
or
money.
it's great.
I love
Spiritual,
money.
yeah, spiritual or asshole saying, I thought I had great self worth. Turns out I was just on a lot of cocaine.
Oh, spiritual.
Okay, that's great. Spiritual or asshole thinking you can increase your sexual energy by having your fly halfway down all the times. This is me.
Oh, well, asshole.
That's me by accident. Okay,
I love that.
here we go. Spiritual.
Asshole.
It's always halfway down. I don't know why. All right. Spiritual or
Or
asshole,
halfway up if you want to look at it the other way.
or we could just be positive about it. Or, all right. Oh yeah, spiritual or asshole proving to your girlfriend that you're super masculine by breaking her crystals on your forehead.
Oh, spiritual. I'm into
Super.
that.
Just fucking smashing them.
Yeah, I
Uh,
love crystals because I'm a mermaid.
oh yeah, that's
If
right.
you want to break my crystals, I'm like kind of getting turned on just thinking about that actually.
That's
Asshole
great.
if he doesn't buy me more.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah. I
All
love
right.
transferring bits of crystal all over the bed. Oh,
Yeah,
it sounds like
that does sound like a mermaid's dream.
yes.
It is. All right, last one. Spiritual or asshole thinking you have great self-worth and then you hear the following words. Welcome to Spirit Airlines. You're like, maybe I don't. I don't know.
Spiritual because you gotta embody it. Go for it, sister.
Go
And
for it.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, I like it. I'll still take the Funghua bus from New York to Boston for $15. So, and every time I go, obviously I meet 9 characters, and I'm just like, this is so spiritual.
It's such a fucking that I've done that a lot. All right, so
Have
last
you?
question. Oh my God, yeah, I used to live in New York, so all
Oh,
the
you're
time.
kidding. Oh, really? So you know the Funghua bus. Did
I
you ever do
know
that?
it.
Really?
Oh yeah, I
Awesome.
used to do that all the time. So it's hilarious. All right. Oh yeah, last question I ask everybody. If you could tell people one thing to tell themselves all day long, what would it be?
I am going to be, I'm going to meet a billionaire. I'm gonna be a billionaire. So most people's affirmations are like, I am such a beautiful soul. And I'm like, I'm going to be a motherfucking savage and create billions of dollars. So say that every day and see what happens. You will literally meet your maker every day in your emotions. And then you'll cry and think that the world is against you when God is actually just realigning everything to you to get billions of dollars.
That's
Fun.
so good. I think that's awesome. I'm gonna start doing. All right, we want to tell everybody where they can find you.
Yes. Okay. So you can find me on Instagram at Asha_T as in titties _ international. And my #1 Facebook is Asha T. And I've got a black, I'm so pretty. It's a black dress. And that's me. And I say that I help professional women stop being like crazy ladies and also cat ladies. So like come and find me. And then I also work with a lot of men as well. And my program, Self Worth Warriors, is literally the bomb. We have so much fun. It's about deep healing that's like not like your everyday healing. I want you fucking winning and like traveling and looking so fabulous and feeling so, so good from the inside out. So the women that work with me, they're ready to be seen, men as well, ready to be seen, ready to be fabulous, and ready to literally crush life by having a blast. That's the whole ethos of my work.
I love it. This has been so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you to your amazing audience. I just think you guys are all a bunch of assholes. It's fun.
It's great. All right.